like magic, we are working on our diamond painting. So I loaded up, I added I think this is a 7-placer. Yeah, 7-placer to my brand new beautiful pen from O'Brien Custom Turning. And I have the pen that I unboxed last time. So I have 2 rainbow pens to choose from with 2 different size placers. And I actually was working on this before and started filming and apparently failed to actually film. So hopefully we are running. Yes, it looks like things are working. I actually did manage to get in an overhead mount for the camera. You couldn't see me gesturing because I was on either side of the camera. But now I have this overhead mount so I can actually do this and not feel like, you know, I'm showing you half the room or not able to really focus. Once again, I can't really see because I have the forward facing camera, so the little 3 cameras on my iPhone facing down. But from what I could tell, we are pretty well in focus and pretty well centered on the diamond painting. I actually think that I am done with B. No, I am nowhere near done with B. Okay, let's get back to working on it. I'm going to start with this one today. Let's see. Oh, so how has everybody been? Here in Oklahoma, it has been stupid cold. For the last week, we have had that horrible winter storm that's been going around everywhere. Luckily, even though it's been, in the negatives here, Oklahoma has not had nearly the problems with our power infrastructure that Texas has. I'm really hoping that everybody in Texas is faring well and power is getting turned back on and water is being returned. We had a couple days of low water pressure because basically our water treatment plant was having trouble keeping up because the open reservoirs were freezing and they didn't have the ability to keep that from happening. So there was less water flowing, but we still had water the whole time. We've had some massive snowfall, a dog that did not want to go out and go potty in the snow because he's never seen snow like this before. He is a baby. I love him to death. My yellow lab Leo is, best word for him would be picky about where he goes potty, and he could not settle on a place like because the temperatures were so low and because the snow was so deep, he wouldn't go potty. So we had to we don't have a snow shovel because we never need a snow shovel. I've bought one now. It should be here sometime in March so that if it snows next year, we're ready for it. But anyway, we had to use a push broom to clear enough space on the grass. I think we had over a foot of snow at that point. My husband's out at like 1 o'clock in the morning trying to clear space for my baby dog to go out and go potty. It was a really, really long night. I don't know. Yeah, you guys don't need to hear all about it, but rest assured that we did finally get him to go out and do his business, and he figured out after that he could go to the cleared spot. But it was an interesting weekend with the thick snow and the really, really cold temperatures. It's warmer now. We actually managed to get the dogs out to take a walk yesterday. They walked in the snow, which confused them. We have the 3 lab mixes, all rescues, And Mocha, our oldest, she loves snow. She will happily walk, play, lay down in, and go out in general in the snow. She loves it. Wesley, I'm not sure what he's mixed with. I think probably pit bull and Catahoula leopard cur. And he is, he's okay with snow. He doesn't hate it, but he doesn't love it. He does get cold faster than the other two because he has no reserve body fat at all. He is the skinniest dog I've ever seen, but he's healthy. So says the dog, or so says the vet. But he's okay with the snow. Leo, however, he's the baby, and he spent his first 3 years in Northern California. So snow is just confusing to him. Like he'll go out and play. He'll go out and, you know, sniff around, but he does not really like it. And whenever the weather was particularly bad, he would not go out in it. It was pretty sad. He was like, Mom, the air is biting me. Because, of course, Oklahoma, wind. It was so windy, and the snow was being blown so hard, and they were tiny little flakes the first day. So it really was like the snow stung when it hit you, and he was so unhappy about it. Anyway, we are doing well now, thank goodness, and I wish everybody in Texas well, everybody in Oklahoma that's still having problems with power and water. I'm hoping that everybody can get back to normal soon. I know that yesterday going out, you know, it was only 24, but it felt positively amazing after spending so many days in the negatives and close to zero. I was like, wow, it's positively balmy out here. I felt like I didn't even need my heavy coat. I would have regretted taking it off, but I felt like I didn't need it. So we're going to go out in a little bit, probably after I finish this video. Michael, my husband, has a meeting for another 30 minutes or so, and he is planning on, I think we're going to go to OU. The University of Oklahoma has some great walking paths that they actually keep relatively clear. Our neighborhood sidewalks are a mess, and with the snow melting, everything is going to be slick. I would rather not fall and, you know, hurt myself or twist an ankle, so I think we're going to go over to the university and walk today, get the dogs out. They are all currently napping because their normal nap time is from 2 to 5 in the afternoon. You know, until I had these dogs, I never realized that dogs had like nap times. I figured they just slept when they were tired, but no, my dogs sleep every day at specific times. So it's kind of funny. You know that if you come over between 2 and 5 in the afternoon, my dogs will be zonked out. So if you want calm dogs, that's when you want to come visit. My dad actually, my parents only live about 2 blocks away, and my dad will walk over when the weather's good and visit the dogs, and he always seems to come during their nap time. So he comes in the door, they get excited, and then they immediately go back to sleep. And he's like, well, laziest dogs ever. I'm like, well, come earlier in the day or later in the day, but right now is not a good time. So I was really, really pleased that Mitzi from Sparkle Queen Creations actually commented on my unboxing of this canvas, and she commented on my Instagram post about it, and then she mentioned me. She actually shared a link to my video on her Instagram. I thank you so much, Mitzi. As a new creator, it means a lot. I have to admit, I kind of fangirled a little bit. My husband laughed at me, but I appreciate it. And I appreciate everybody calling out a new channel. I know I don't have a whole lot to offer right now, but hopefully that will change in the future. And as weather gets shipments actually arriving, I am waiting for several different shipments to get here. Because of the weather, everything is slow. I was actually giggling because I'm waiting for some resin things to get here, and I was like chomping at the bit, getting really frustrated with FedEx and UPS, and then I realized, well, I can't exactly work on this stuff right now anyway because I have to open my office window whenever I work on resin, and there's no way I was going to open the office window when it was, -11 out. So I was getting all anxious and frustrated for nothing, which made me laugh. I actually had problems. I haven't really done any diamond painting. You can see on my right hand how swollen these knuckles are. My arthritis kicked in like mad whenever the temperatures dropped, all the pressure changes, and it was not a good couple days for me. So I'm glad that the temperatures are going up, and maybe I can actually get some crafting done. I have several things that are planned. I have a workshop, a paper crafting workshop with close to my heart. I think it's card making. It might be scrapbooking. I don't know. I mostly do card making, but I signed up for their VIP program, which is once every quarter, they send you a kit that does, they have a scrapbooking one and they have a card making one because they're very different. But once a quarter, they send you enough to do whatever project it is. And then they're doing virtual workshops. So you can actually see somebody working on it and see how it turns out. And so I'm signed up to do that this next week. And there's no way, can't believe I caught my sleeve on that. Does anybody else ever do that? Like you get them all lined up and then you catch your sleeve or whatever. Anyway, I have that workshop coming up this week, and I could not craft because my fingers hurt so bad the last few days. My husband, my poor husband, has been having to deal with me being very cranky because when I can't craft, I am not my usual sweet self. I actually learned when I was in college that crafting is probably, after Zoloft, I take Zoloft for PTSD and anxiety, but after, modern pharmaceuticals, crafting is probably the one thing that really keeps me sane. So when I can't craft, I get a little bit cranky, and my poor husband has to put up with it, so that's okay. He loves me anyway. It's like whenever he goes without his Diet Mountain Dew. I don't drink soda. I've never really liked soda that much. So it's kind of funny. I keep him stocked and I'm like, I'm running low on tea. I have a hot tea collection that's pretty impressive. And coffee. I love my tea and my coffee. But soda, meh. The only soda I've ever really liked is Fanta, like from Mexico Fanta. It has to be the actual sugar sweetened, not this stuff they sell here in the States. But I don't even drink that anymore. I have been on a healthy lifestyle kick for the last, I guess you couldn't even call it kick. I guess it is, I have a healthy lifestyle. Eating and drinking for nutrition rather than because it tastes good. And although I don't eat food that doesn't taste good, but, kind of changed my views on food. I had, because of the PTSD, because of all of the things that happened to me when I was younger, I had a binge eating disorder. And whenever I finally got a hold on that, thank you therapy, thank you Zoloft. It was, yes, focusing on my health was one of the biggest things. I was heavy, and I actually went down to Mexico and had surgery, and I lost over 100 pounds. And then my doctor started threatening me if I lost any more. And so I overcorrected. I ate healthy, nutritive foods, but too much of them. So I gained a little bit of weight, and I have almost gotten all of that regain off. So staying away from sodas and things like that. Like, I used to drink a lot, like a lot of people whenever I was younger. And I really don't drink much anymore. I will occasionally indulge, but it's not a common thing. You would think that we were incredible lushes if you came to our house, because we have a liquor collection that is quite impressive. Because when we do drink, when we have parties, you know, you guys remember back when we could have parties? Anyway, I like to be able to play bartender, and, well, yeah, you got to have a nice collection of booze for that. So I have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm just kind of talking. I am not really the kind of person that just prattles on or talks about myself much, so I'm not sure what to talk about in a WIP Chat. So hopefully you guys will forgive me for being awkward. And my husband is coming in. Hello, my husband. I am recording for YouTube. What's up?
Hey. Are you going to edit this part out?
Maybe. I don't know.
I was going to ask you if you wanted to do the doggy walk thing.
Yes, I would love to do the doggy walk thing. We will be back. Bye. Okay, and I am back. And it's not just later, it's later the next day. Yeah, the dogs got 2 different walks, and yeah, we had all sorts of stuff. But that's okay, because I'm back. All right, let's see. We were on R. Let's see. Did I have... This is not the right one. I have a bunch of different AB diamonds that I'm putting in here, and I have some sparkler ones, but I keep forgetting which colors are which, so I have to like look over there and reference. I'm like, okay, I have purple and green and yellow and blue and, you know, reds and fuchsias, but I don't have any orange. I know I have some orange, but I don't have the right colors of orange. I have like fall orange, so they all have that sort of brown or black sort of base to them, so they won't really work for this. I don't want to introduce that into the pure colors in this painting. So the orange is just plain, which is fine because there will be plenty of bling elsewhere. I love bling. Love it. All right. There we go. Not perfect, but good enough. Oh, so I don't even remember what I was talking about when I left, but we took the dogs for a nice walk yesterday, and then I got caught up fixing dinner and getting ready and then snuggling said dogs because they're just so stinking cute that whenever they lay down in my chair, so I have my chair in the living room. It's gigantic. It's more like a love seat than a chair. It's not just a chair and a half or a seat and a half. It's like a seat and 3/4. It's literally big enough for every mammal in the house to snuggle up in and not run out of room. But we snuggled up last night and watched some TV, and I just never got back to the office. And then today was kind of it was a beautiful day out. It was up in the 40s. So I was outside and I was getting stuff done outside. Like I got the sofa cleared off and got the cushions, you know, put out where they could fully dry in the sun. And it was just a busy day. And then we took the dogs for a walk and then we got back and everybody was cold and wet because, I mean, whenever you walk in melting snow, you're going to get cold and wet. So, you know, we had to get everybody warmed up and I had to take a shower because I was freezing and put on, you know, fresh clothes and yeah. Anyway, it was a production, but I'm back. So, oh my goodness. This coming out of a big winter storm like this is always entertaining because our neighborhood, actually in our town, they don't plow and they don't clear the roads in the neighborhoods. They only do the main roads. And while directly behind us is one of the designated emergency routes in our town, getting to the road directly behind us is a matter of taking 3 separate neighborhood roads. So getting out of our house is always fun, and the roads were just slushy and icy, and yeah. It's actually kind of funny. So there are other streets in our neighborhood where they're very careful about making sure that everything gets snow shoveled. Our street and the street leading to our street from the main street leading into our neighborhood, nope. We're all just like, no, it's fine. We'll just wait for the sun plow, aka the sun, to melt everything. So it's kind of funny. Once we got out of our little area though, the roads were great. Yesterday they were narrower than they were today, but whenever it gets up into the 40s, you're definitely going to have a lot of melting and a lot of roads clearing. The sidewalks at the university where we walk the dogs to get them out of our neighborhood sometimes. And definitely during this storm, it's been great because since they don't plow the roads here, they also don't clear any sidewalks. And the university has a vested interest since they're doing in-person classes this semester. They are keeping the sidewalks not perfectly clear, but you know, at least the areas that are most commonly traveled, they're keeping them relatively clear. So we could actually walk the dogs and not have to worry about them being in, you know, 1.5 feet of snow for the entire time, which, you know, my little prissy Leo appreciates. And Wesley doesn't really like the cold on his paws either. Mocha couldn't care less either way. She's so cute. We actually nicknamed her our tank. My husband and I both used to play computer video games. EverQuest was what I got him into. He got me into Final Fantasy, and then we kind of both stopped playing them all together at some point. But we joke that, you know, she's the one that you would send in because she can take the most damage. She just keeps going. So it's also kind of partially her attitude whenever we have her out walking. She's just like, I know where I'm going, even if she doesn't. I know where I'm going, and I'm getting there as quickly as possible, so get out of my way. And it's like, all right, tank girl. She's so cute. She has such attitude, though. She is at once our most laid-back dog and our most diva dog at the same time. Oh, and sorry about if you hear the washer running. We have incredibly good water pressure in this house, and we have to keep replacing the intake or the valve on our that the washer hooks into in the laundry room, because with our water pressure and the high efficiency washer, it puts water through at such a speed that you get kind of like this knocking sound. So I apologize if you hear that. It was the day to change and wash all the sheets and blankets too, which is at once my favorite and least favorite day of the week. I love clean sheets. I love the feel. I love the smell. But it's kind of ridiculous. Like, we have to wash blankets more often. I don't sleep. This is a weird random thing. I don't like to sleep like between the sheets or under the quilt. I make the bed and then I sleep. I put at least in the winter, I put a blanket on, like a soft, fuzzy, like warm, reflective blanket on top of the quilt, and I sleep on top of that with another warm, fuzzy blanket over me. Michael and I can't really sleep under the same blanket because with 3 big dogs, that's just too many bodies under one blanket. And I got tired of my butt hanging out. Why was it always me with my butt hanging out of the covers? Like, it was never Michael. Michael was like, I'm being cooked by dogs. And I'm like, I'm freezing my butt off, literally. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, do you sleep under or between the sheets? Like, so in the summer, I just sleep with the sheets. Like, we might have a really light cotton quilt on in the summer, but I'm a hot sleeper. So in the summer, it's fitted sheet and then flat sheet. And then if there's going to be another quilt or something, it's the quilt on top of that. And in the summer, usually I'll fold the quilt down because it's not usually cold enough that I need it. Although sometimes Michael turns the AC down a little too much, but that's pretty normal in a marriage. I think somebody's always hot while the other person's cold. But, oh, I missed a pee. You know, we have the fan in there, and well, the ceiling fan. And so it's usually enough to keep it from being too hot for him and too cold for me. But, so usually it's just the sheets. And then in the winter, so we wash our sheets twice a week in the summer, sometimes more if we're sweaty or it gets too hot, or if the dogs are too stinky. If you have dogs and you take them outside and do anything outside, sometimes they roll in things, sometimes they get gross. But, excuse me, coffee. In the summer, we wash our sheets twice a week. In the winter, it's only once a week because I'm not under the sheets. And actually, Michael has taken to doing that too, where he's not really in the bed so much as on top of the bed. I find it kind of funny that he's taken to doing that as well, because it's actually easier. So if I'm hot, like if the dogs are right up against me and won't get off, I can stick my feet out really, really easily if it's just a blanket. Or I can, if my toes are cold, I can tuck the blanket, kind of make like a little, like if this is the blanket, I can tuck the blanket up under and put my feet in there. That's what I do in the winter. So it's like this little pocket for my toes. It's just nice having that flexibility to be able to move the blanket around. The only negative is we have one dog, Wesley, who loves to rearrange his environment. So he'll come to bed. If he gets into bed before us, he will actually like scrape at the edge of the blankets and move them around until they're all like in this little nest bundle, and then lay on the bundle. And then you have to fight him to get the blanket back from him, which is cute, but annoying. That's actually pretty much true about everything dogs. They're cute, but annoying. Okay, so this is one of the colors, this symbol. What is this? This is like a spade. I don't know if you can see that. So I have, it's not the same color, but it's pretty close. So I've been doing some of this color in place of these. So I have an extra tray over here that I'll put some of the ABs into to sprinkle in. I don't want it to be all super sparkly because there's so many bright, beautiful colors. But it's nice to have, like in this yellow area, you can see that I just scattered in some AB, and you can see down in here in the reds, I scattered in some AB. Is it weird that for reds in particular, reds and oranges, the AB makes them just look like a completely different color? Like it doesn't so much with the yellow still looks yellow, but like with this red, it makes it look more purple whenever it has the AB finish on it. Maybe I'm just picky, but I almost wish that the AB finish wasn't such a deviation. I think it's probably just that I'm picky. All right. But look at that AB. Isn't that gorgeous? With that kind of bright magenta purple. All right. I'm gonna put that one right here. Pull back the sleeve. So whenever you are doing a diamond painting and you are subbing in an AB, how do you do it? Do you put your ABs on and then put the rest of that color on? Do you do them kind of, that one's a weird one. Do you kind of do them at the same time, like go along the row? Look at that. That one is so weird. That one's trash. Put it in my little trash bin. That's the first one that I've gotten that's been trash out of this whole kit, so not too bad. Do you put in all of the right color and then go back and add in your ABs later? How do you do it? Leave a comment down below and let me know how you do it, because everybody seems to do it just a little bit differently, and I like to know the reasons behind why people do it that way. Okay. So like there's this little box of 5 right here. I'm only going to put one AB there because I don't want it to be like, oh. I've already added these sparklers in for as a substitute for that color, so I don't want to like push it to the max. Since those are the rare color in this section, I want them to really come out, but I still want sparkle in the other stuff too. I love ABs. They're just so pretty. Why am I'm having issues with my wax today, I guess. It happens. Sorry if you can hear Mocha snoring. She's my little snooze monster. She loves to be in here with me though. It's so cute. She used to go downstairs, so she has a crate downstairs in my husband's office area down there. And she used to go down there with my husband all the time, spend all her time with him. We've said that she is like 75% his dog and 25% my dog, because whenever we first got her, she threw herself at our door at 3 o'clock in the morning and said, "Hi, I live here now," which was a bit shocking for Michael, especially because he'd never had a dog, but we lived out in the country, and it was pretty common to have strays show up, and we almost always could find their owners, but if we couldn't, you know, there were rescues and stuff that we could take them to. Well, we couldn't find her owner, and there were no rescues willing to take in a black lab at that exact moment, and I didn't want to take her to a shelter, so we held on to her. Like, we created this little, we took one of the big round trash bins and lined it with blankets, because this was late October. Lined it with blankets and hung a blanket, used those big plastic clamps hung a blanket over the front, and she immediately figured out that that was her new home and that was safe and she could go in there, and she was free to come and go because we were out in the country. We were like, well, we'll offer her shelter. We'll make sure she's fed. We'll try and find her a home. But about a week into this, I was scheduled to leave for a transatlantic cruise with my mom. And I left on this cruise without us having found her a home. And we had kind of tossed around the idea, well, if we can't find her a home, she's so sweet. And she was pretty young. The vet was like, she's between 1.5 years and 3 years old. It's really hard to tell, but she had had puppies not too long before. She was covered in ticks and fleas. She'd obviously been out on her own for quite a while, but probably was not particularly well cared for before that. So she was probably dumped. Michael and I kind of thought that it might have been that they tried to breed her and maybe she didn't do well with the birth or as a mom or whatever. And a lot of the kind of backyard breeders for hunting dogs in Oklahoma, if a dog isn't breeding properly, they won't, do the humane thing. And I know it sounds horrible. They won't do the humane thing and just shoot them. They will just take them somewhere and dump them. And I think that that's probably what had happened to poor Miss Mocha. And so we'd talked about keeping her because she was so sweet-natured. Like, she had no idea what toys were. She had no idea what being in the house was like. Although once she found us, she was like, I want to be with you all the time. Which, whenever you have 2 cats out in the country, 2 cats and a bird, because at the time we had an African gray parrot. But we were afraid to let her inside because we didn't know if she was house trained. We didn't know what was going on. Okay, that is not that. So here's another one where we have an AB that's not exactly the same, but close enough. Anyway, whenever I left, we'd talked about keeping her, but he was going to keep trying to find her home. And while I was gone, he said that he would do his best to try and find her owner. And if he couldn't find her owner, he was going to build her a doghouse, just a nice warm doghouse with like a heater in it, so that if winter came and she was still with us, because we couldn't keep her contained. We tried putting her in a dog run and she literally just went straight up the chain link. We could not keep her contained. So I left, and I'm out in the middle of the Atlantic, right? And he sends me pictures of him building this doghouse. I was like, okay, he didn't find the owners. And I kind of thought before I left that I would probably be coming home to him saying, I've decided to keep her. She's so sweet and so well behaved. And she is. She's such a good dog. And she even was then. But I kind of anticipated coming home to, hey, honey, we're keeping the dog. But I'm in the middle of the Atlantic, and I get a picture of him building the doghouse and putting in the heater. And I get a picture of her curled up on the new dog bed he bought her, covered up with blankets, and just her little nose poking out. And he's like, she's so cold. I have to get this built for her. She's so cold. And the next picture I get, because I don't have, whenever you're on a cruise ship, you don't always have access to good internet. And so it's not like we could do FaceTime at the time, because we've had Mocha now for, oh Lord, 8 years now. Anyway, FaceTime wasn't as big a deal back then. And so cruise ships didn't have like an option where you could do that. It was just check your email sort of thing. And the next email that I got was the house all finished, and she was all cold. And he's like, she's so cold. She's shivering. It's going to be so cold here tonight. And I sent him a message. I was like, she'll be all right. You know, she at least has the shelter. You've built her this doghouse. And then I get a picture of him having wired in this terrarium heater and a monitoring system. Have I mentioned that my husband is a programmer and he actually has his electrical engineering degree and he loves to do like the hardware side? It's not just software that he's interested in. So, you know, he's done all this electrical stuff and wired this thing up. And so we know exactly what the temperature is. And he sends me a link to let me check it too. And so, so cute. And then the next email that I get from him was, I went out to check on her and she was still shivering and she was so cold and I let her in the house. Don't worry, the cats are fine. She chased after Horace once, but I told her to stop and she stopped. And she hasn't bothered with them since, and she actually hasn't bothered with them to this day. I think she realized how good she had it, him letting her in to begin with, that if she didn't behave well, then bad things were going to happen. But she had him wrapped around her little tail tip. By the time I got home, you know, it wasn't just, yeah, we can keep her. It was, she's my dog. I love her. I have so many pictures of them curled up that first, you know, winter because she was so, so skinny. So she weighs 80 pounds, 82 pounds now, which is a little overweight for her. She should probably be about 70 to 75. We've got her on a diet. Don't worry, we're working with it. But whenever she came to us, she only weighed 40 pounds. And like I said, she had given birth not too long before. So she was very malnourished. And yeah, she was just such a sweet dog from the very beginning. We had to teach her how to play with toys. We had to teach her to not bolt her food. If there was food available, she ate it. Our neighbors at the time were just building their house out there. And she actually walked up to the house that was being built and demanded of the workers that they let her in. They let her in and she immediately stole one of the workers' lunch boxes and brought it home to eat it, which is hilarious. But Michael, being the good doggy daddy that he is, you know, cleaned up her mess and threw everything away before they could see that she'd taken it and that she was responsible. So she didn't get in any trouble, my sweet girl. But it was pretty stinking funny. Okay, I'm trying to remember. Okay, I think that one was that one, and M was that one, yes. So there's two reds in this, and like I said, they're not the exact same. I have 606 and then 891, but they're close enough. And then 666, and this is 349. Not exactly the same, but close enough. I went with the undertone there, but there's quite a lot of both of these symbols. I think that's pretty much all that's left in this section. So just like this lower area down here, they'll be scattered in. Put my little anti-static things back in there. Those are the Downy, are they called Unstoppables? I think Unstoppables. They're just like scent booster, fabric softener things for your clothes, but they work really well to keep the static out of drills. I've noticed that putting the drills in the little plastic containers, sometimes they build up static even if they didn't have it to begin with. So I like to use them as static prevention whenever I'm working on a piece out of these containers. I need another sip of coffee. I am drinking decaf. It is currently, what time? Oh, wow, it's currently 10 p.m. I will drink decaf. This is probably my last cup of decaf. But I drink coffee all day. I just only do 2 cups of caffeinated in the morning, and the rest of the day is decaf. I take it dark and sweet. I do like a latte, but I try to only do one of those a day. Today was a special occasion because we actually, since we were out and about with the dogs, we went to Starbucks and I got a decaf skinny vanilla latte, which I don't let myself do very often. It was really tasty though. It was a nice treat. I figure it's the weekend. We've been locked up. I have an espresso maker here, and so I do my latte in the morning, but actually getting a latte when I'm out and about is pretty rare for me. Not just because of COVID, just because I have an espresso maker here. Why would I pay $4 or more for a coffee whenever I can make it at home? Probably just as good, if not better, for, a 1/10 of the price. It's just not worth it to me most of the time. But I do enjoy a latte when I'm out and about once in a while. Michael, however, he loves is it the short pull? What the heck are they called? Flat whites. He loves the flat whites. Apparently, I like to joke, he doesn't really like coffee. He likes tanned milk. And very sweet tanned milk. But he says that the flat whites are a lot less bitter in his opinion. I haven't really noticed that big a difference, but I like just regular coffee. I actually, after I had bariatric surgery 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, I found that actually my taste for sweet drinks is stronger after surgery than it was before. Some people say that they lose their taste for sweet things after surgery. I found that mine got stronger, but my idea of sweet is very different. So like if Michael were to pick up my coffee and accidentally take a drink of it, he would think that there was hardly any sweetener, if any sweetener in there. But he's diabetic, so we both use artificial sweetener. He just, whenever he uses sweetener in coffee and stuff, he uses a lot more than I do. Used to be I liked my coffee black though, and that, or not black, but just plain black. I used to love it just plain. That's what I grew up with my parents drinking, and so that was really common, and I'll still do it. Like I said, I like my lattes, but I can't do them more than once or twice a day because it's too much for me. They're very filling and just too much. I like just plain old coffee, and I'll sweeten it, usually with sugar-free syrup. I have a sugar-free simple syrup that I'll use like 1 pump in a 20-ounce cup of coffee, or I'll use stevia or Splenda if I am out and about. Not that I do that anymore. But yeah, I don't do milky coffee very often. I actually found that to be very much in my favor. I went to Italy to visit a friend, and she was explaining to me that, they think it's incredibly is gauche the word that I want to use? They think it's funny how Americans like lattes so much. Lattes are what you feed to kids. A cappuccino is what a woman would drink most of the time. And, like in the afternoon, you don't do a latte or a cappuccino, you do an espresso. No milk or very little milk. What is it? They call it a macchiato or a macchiatone. Anyway, that is what they drink in Italy in the afternoon. And so I was like, well, that works perfectly for me. Very, very little steamed milk and nice, strong espresso. That's actually when I got back from visiting her, was whenever I begged Michael to buy me an espresso maker, because I'll drink just plain old American coffee, but I love my espresso. It's not even so much the strength of it, it's the taste of it. And you can't get that same flavor and mouthfeel from a just standard American brewed coffee. You can using the beans. I mean, I'm actually using regular old beans right now because my espresso roast is still on its way to me. Thank you, Winter Storm of Doom. But like the actual mouthfeel of the coffee is different whenever you start with espresso. You can make it an Americano, but it's still not the same. I'm listening to Mocha snore. She makes me sleepy sometimes. I'm not sleepy. I'm not tired at all. We actually slept in today, so, well, I didn't get to sleep in as much as I intended to sleep in because a certain blonde dog decided that mommy needed to be awake right now. But that's okay. He's cute. It's the only reason he's alive someday, but he's cute. Now, he loves me to get up, and we kind of have our routine that we do in the morning, and if that routine is thrown off, he does not fare well, my little Leo. I make him sound like he's so neurotic. He's really not. He's just habituated, especially since COVID and the lockdown. He is very habituated. They all are. Isn't that right, Wesley? Wesley's staring at me. He wants to know who the heck I'm talking to. So this is really weird, just sitting here talking while I'm working. Normally I'm working and lurking, listening to somebody else talk. This is very, very awkward feeling to me. So I think that tomorrow the weather should be nice enough that I can do some resin work. I need to see if Michael has any plans or if he wants to spend time together or if it's okay for me to play with my resins. I am still currently waiting for a delivery of resin to get here, but I did get some small bottles from Michael's, and today I'll show you guys this. Why not? I got in a shipment from Amazon of different colors of metal foil or leaf. So I got the copper, the gold, and the silver, which I'm super excited to play with. I've been playing with gold foil, but it's the sheets, and so getting them into the kind of crumpled up form factor is harder. It just takes more time, so it'll be nice to play with these. And having the silver and the copper is fun. And then I got some little, let me move this out of the way real quick. I got some molds to make, what was it they called them? Do they have it on here? No, they just call it silicone mold new. It is to make like little islands. Sorry about the crinkle, because these plastic bags are so loud. But basically, they are, multiple molds are tiered. So like you can see here, it's got all of these different levels over here, and then these actually fit into these. And so you can make kind of like mountains, or like can you see doing like a clear blue in here and then do like a sand color over here, so that whenever you, or which way? either way, one way or the other. And then you have kind of like little islands in water, but like they have these would be perfect for like earrings. It'd be so, so pretty. And then these are a perfect size, I would think, for like little cover minders. I love this sort of thing. I've been wondering how people do it, and turns out that they do it with these like stepped molds. So they even give you, this is so stinking cute. Can you even see those? They're little eye screws. So you don't even have to really drill much, although I probably would pre-drill. You put the screw in and then use that as like the bail on the necklace or earrings. Anyway, I want to play with those tomorrow, but it's going to be a multiple casting project, kind of like one that I currently have going that I started before the winter storm that I would like to finish as well. I started these little paw prints. One is little kitties and one is little puppies, but you can see I poured the pink for the little jelly bean toes and the paw. And then I did kind of a more, it's got a little bit more orange to it. You just can't tell because it's in this hot pink mold. But I will pour a solid color over the top of it to be like the paw print, and then you'll see the little toes. But I have to wait until I can open my window, and it's been too cold to open my window, so I'm excited to actually be able to play with those and get those done. I want to see how they look. I've also been watching, her channel is Pour Your Heart Out. She's absolutely lovely lady in Australia. I've been watching her do a bunch of, she calls it feathering, but it's the, I always forget the actual name for it. Some people do it with alcohol ink. She's using like a pigment where you use a clear resin and you drop drops of color in, and they kind of sink to varying levels depending on how much alcohol is in them. And then whenever it's just right close to being set, you go in and you swirl everything around, and it makes kind of unpredictable patterns. And it appeals to me. Oh my God, it appeals to me so much. I want to play with that as well. But, you know, we do what we can. I will play with that at some point. I've been watching her videos, and it's just so fun. She's so sweet. Like her video that I watched today, she was feeding, she's somewhere in Australia, and I don't know what the bird is, but oh my gosh, they're so loud. But she has some wild birds that come up to eat twice a day that have been coming for like a couple years or more. Like I think she said one mated pair of birds have been coming for like 6 years, and they brought their baby with them this time. And it's just so cute. Loud birds though. I have to admit, I never thought that I would want a bird as a pet. My husband had an African gray whenever we got together, and we have since rehomed him, not because I wanted to get rid of him or because he was a bad bird, but we were having some behavioral issues, specifically with him and my husband, and we found a new home for him, mostly because there was blood involved on my husband's part. He was being bitten pretty consistently, and once a bird has decided that they don't like you, they very rarely change their mind. So it was really sad. We were very sad to find a new home for Nyasha, because he was our first child, and he was a very good bird, very smart. He would be 24 years old this year. So, dryer's done. All right, I'm going to change the topic because that's just too sad. I don't want to think about it. We still get pictures from his new mom though, and he's very happy where he is. So It's hard though. It's always hard to have to admit that you can't do something about something, but whenever you're dealing with a living, breathing creature, you have to respect their wishes. And birds are not domesticated in the same way that dogs and cats are. You know, they make up their own minds, especially intelligent birds like African greys. And rather than making him an only in a cage bird, we decided it was time to find him somewhere he could be happy. It was actually hard for everybody in the family. My parents had even grown attached to him. So finding him a new home, it was kind of paramount that we found him somewhere that was suitable and that we could all kind of approve of. And it was not an easy decision to make. We talked about it for over a year with the bites of, he never bit me, but he would bite my husband, and then like he was definitely doing it on purpose, and that was becoming increasingly frustrating. And like if we had to go somewhere, like even my mom was afraid to take him out of his cage because he was aggressive towards everyone except me. So, but like I said, he's doing really well now. Sorry, that got really, I guess I needed to talk about it. Thank you guys for being my ersatz therapist. But we have way too much time to think about things in quarantine. Has anybody else noticed that? Like, I'll find myself going down these rabbit holes of thought, and then I'll find myself going down a rabbit hole of something on the internet just so I don't have to sit there and think all day. I mean, I like to think I would like to think that I am a thoughtful person, but there is such a thing as too much time in your own head. And I feel like we've all kind of gotten that, being in quarantine and staying in to keep everybody safe. My parents, I think, go in this next week for their second COVID vaccination shot. And once they are fully vaccinated and that 3-week waiting period passes, I have to admit a huge weight will be off my shoulders as far as worrying about people getting sick, because while I know that COVID has killed people younger and healthier than me, it's not likely to kill me. You know what I mean? If I catch it, I'm not really worried. But if I were to catch it and unknowingly transmit it to my elderly parents who are both immunocompromised and sick already, I told my mom, I might survive COVID. I would not survive having given them COVID. And if one of them passed away from it, yeah, that's not something I don't know that I would be able to live with that. So, yes. Fun topic of conversation. Let's see. I actually have a little website pulled up over here on my computer to my left with just some random questions. I kind of wanted to be ready just in case I ran out of topics to talk about, because honestly, y'all, I'm not that great a conversationalist. I'm a good friend, not a good conversationalist, good listener, but figuring out topics to talk about has never been my strong point. So let me put that down, and then I will wake up my computer again I love my Apple Watch, if only for the fact that it will unlock my computer without me having to type in my password. All right, let's see. And I would love it if you guys, chimed in with your answers to these questions. I think I'm just going to do a few. This video does not need to be hugely, hugely long. I just wanted to get in here and talk to you guys and kind of show you a little bit of this gorgeous kit from Sparkle Queen Creations. I am still in love with it, and I'm so glad that my hands are feeling a little better so I could actually work on it. I'm excited this section's almost done. All right, let's see. First question is, have you ever met someone famous? Define famous and define met. So let's see, if we go with traditionally famous, I've been in an elevator with Gary Sinise. He was at the Sheridan Wild Horse Resort in Arizona when I was out there 2 years ago. Didn't really talk to him. Like, I figured he's on vacation, I'm on vacation, he probably doesn't want to be messed with, so didn't talk to him. But I've been in an elevator with Gary Sinise. As far as meeting famous people, I literally ran face first back in the 90s. I had a friend whose grandmother sewed costumes for like Garth Brooks and like 9 Inch Nails and stuff. And she got us into a 9 Inch Nails concert. And we were there early and running around at the top level of the venue. And I literally ran directly into Marilyn Manson. Before Marilyn Manson was really like a big deal. Now we know he's just another douchebag who abuses his partners, but I literally ran smack into him. We both fell over. He was actually really nice about it, laughed it off, but I would say that's the only time I've met somebody famous. I'm not one of those people that really goes places famous people go. So yeah, I have never met particularly famous people. There are some I would like to meet, but that's probably one of the questions. So I will hold off on that. Let me get this one drill placed so that I can move on to the next section, because this section is done, y'all. Fini. That's so pretty. It's interesting. It's almost like there's a line here, though. I wonder if that's just my perspective where I'm sitting. Maybe it's supposed to look like that. I don't know. All right. Let's see. Pull my little trash tray off. I cast that in resin. Isn't it cute? I did it for Valentine's Day. Love it. Put a magnet on it because I was like, I need a trash tray that can go with me. Okay, I'm going to leave that on for right now. Oh, look at all that beautiful yellow. Yellow. I used to hate yellow. Now it's just bright and happy and cheery. I don't know. I don't hate yellow anymore. Honestly, going through art school, there aren't any colors I hate anymore. There are colors I prefer, but I can't say that I hate any particular color. I'm actually going to grab, did he take it? No, okay. My husband likes to take my X-Acto blade sometimes. I'm actually going to go ahead and just slice right along there. Is doing very, very gentle. There's no way I'm cutting anything but the paper, even if I'm cutting the paper. There we go. You can see I didn't cut all the way through the paper the whole way. I don't want to cut this gorgeous canvas. It's too pretty. Oh, All right, next question here. Would you like to be famous? So I know that a lot of people would love to be famous. I'm not really one of them. I think that while it might be fun in the short run, I don't think that it's something that I would want to put up with every day. I don't really like attention all that much. I've never been somebody that kind of sought out being the center of attention. I don't even like to be sung to at restaurants on my birthday. So would I like to be famous? No, not really. Would I like to do something that could make me famous? Maybe. Why not? Don't we all? But, you know, I think that my husband actually kind of said it best, that if I got to choose between being rich and being famous, I would much rather be rich than famous. Which is kind of funny. We actually joke about that. We're like, okay, whenever we're rich instead of famous, what are we going to do with our money? So, next question is, oh, that's boring. No. All right. If you could live anywhere, where would that be? Well, that one's actually pretty easy for me because I have always said that I want to live in Inverness, Scotland. I have been to the Highlands 3 times in my life, and the moment I'm there, I feel like I'm home. There's just something, like, I don't even really have an ancestry link to Scotland. I have more of an ancestry link to England or Wales or Ireland, but the Highlands of Scotland just feel like home to my spirit. And yeah, if I could live anywhere in the world, it would be in Inverness. It's just this beautiful, yeah, it's touristy town in the Highlands, but I figure that would just guarantee that I had a way to survive. And wait, I just put those on the wrong thing. I totally did. Whoops. Well, okay, I'm glad I didn't put more down. This is real life, y'all. But they looked so pretty there. I just looked over here and I was like, wait, that's the wrong symbol. I can place these while I'm over here, though. I'll just put one of those there. I hate it when the symbol is not the same color as the drill. It confuses the crap out of me every time. I was like, oh, look, it's blue. I'm going to put it on the blue. Nope, wrong one. There is a big section of blue somewhere over here because there's a lot of this 820. All right, the color. Here's that crunchy bag again. Let me get rid of that. Is it this one? No, it's that one. All right. That's funny. That's what I get for talking. Oops. I actually don't need very many of those anyway, so. Anyway, next question. Have you ever been in the snow? Yes, for the last week we have been in the snow. This winter storm, even before this, I'd been in the snow. But this winter storm has definitely been an anomaly to remember here in Oklahoma. Like I've said, I'm really grateful that we were not hit anywhere near as badly as Texas was, or more to the point, our infrastructure stood up to the storm. But yeah, we've definitely been in some snow. I love snow. Actually, I would love to live somewhere where it snows every winter for most of the winter. I love snow. I just don't like sub-zero temperatures. It's kind of a thing for me. Who would be my ideal partner? That would assume I don't already have a partner. I love my partner. My husband, I like to say, whenever we met, he was nothing I wanted and everything I needed. In fact, my first thought when I saw him was, God, that guy's weird. His first thought when he saw me was, I wonder if she's single. So if that tells you anything about our differing opinions of each other in the beginning, he's a great partner for me. He allows me freedom to be me, and he kind of brings me back to earth whenever I get in one of my typical artist states. I sometimes get a little carried away or over emotional, and he kind of helps bring me back to myself, because I'm also very thoughtful and analytical, and those two sides of me don't always jive well. So it's nice to have somebody who, he's an engineer, like I said, he's an electrical engineer. He is very logical and analytical, and so it's nice to have somebody that can bring me back to myself whenever I get on one of my rants or my tangents, or when I go for, Lord, whenever I was painting in school, that was, I would spend literally 12 hours in the studio and forget to eat, forget to drink anything, forget to rest, forget to sit down. And he knew that, and he would come and make sure I had food and make sure I took some sort of break. So he takes good care of me. So I'm going to be loyal and say that he is my ideal partner, because he's a good foil for me. Do I still have my childhood teddy bear? Do you still have your childhood teddy bear? I think I do have at least one of my childhood teddy bears on the bookshelves in our guest room. I know we have one of Michael's in there. How many pairs of shoes do I have? I've never counted. I don't have a huge number of shoes. Maybe I do. I have a lot of shoes. I don't really like shoes is the problem. So I'll buy them thinking, oh, these are going to be great. And then they're not that great, and I don't actually wear them. So they wind up living in the closet. Oh, sorry, more coffee. Coffee is good. Coffee is my friend. I think I'm going to do these blue colors. So like the W and the kind of triangle there and the diamond. And then I'm probably going to call it a night because my hand is starting to get kind of crampy. Okay. W is 826. It's a pretty color. There aren't very many of these, so I think I'm not even going to bother with the tray. So the next question, while we're working on this, what is your favorite holiday? Beach, mountain, or city? So my favorite holiday, I'm assuming they mean vacation or escape. So in the British version of holiday, I would have to say the mountains, preferably where there's woods. I love tall trees. I loved being in Northern California because we were a short drive from the redwoods. There are portions of Northern California that along the coast, the forest reaches like almost right down to the water, and you're in mountains. And so you're going on these switchbacks in these just ancient redwood forests, and then all of a sudden you come around a turn and there's the ocean. I like to take holidays or vacations kind of more away from people. I think that's probably one of the things I love so much about Inverness is there are so many places that you can go that are populated, but then whenever you're ready to not be around people, you can actually get away from people pretty effectively. All right, there's only a couple hearts, so let's do the hearts next. Do I like TV talent shows? TV talent shows. I'm assuming they mean like Britain's Got Talent or America's Got Talent or The Voice or stuff like that. Honestly, I don't watch them. Not because I don't like to see people who have talent, but because I don't like to see people criticized and embarrassed. And on a lot of those shows, they do that just for ratings, and it really bothers me. I actually should have gone to school on a vocal scholarship straight out of high school. Had I been smart, I would have done so. I wasn't smart. But I know what it's like to want to do something really, really badly and be held back by something like stage fright or fear of failure, or, hearing somebody criticize your art is never easy. I got a lot more accustomed to it as an adult in college getting my art degree, but it's never easy. And on a lot of those shows, I kind of feel like they play up the critique and the criticism to the point that it's no longer helpful. It's just hurtful, all for ratings. And so, no, I don't usually watch those shows. If I'm going to watch something reality TV, it's probably going to be like The Great British Bake Off or something, because they actually support and hold each other up on that show. It's just a personal preference. I don't judge anybody who likes to watch them. It is, occasionally I will pull up a performance or something on YouTube, or I'll catch, part of a video that somebody sends me of a particular singer or act. It's not that I don't appreciate them. I just don't watch them. I actually very rarely watch TV. Most of the time, if I'm watching TV, it's because Michael has said, hey, we need to watch this Netflix show. We don't have cable, so everything's on streaming. And for the most part, I would rather listen to an audiobook or, heck, watch YouTube. I've actually taken to doing a lot of Skillshare classes because I like to learn new things, keep my brain active. So yeah, TV, not so much. Specifically talent shows, nope. Hey, I already answered that one. What's your opinion on reality TV shows? I think most of them are stupid and fake, but there are a few out there that are really good. Alrighty, let's do that diamond. Where is the diamond? That's the square. There it is. It's 995. That is a pretty blue. Whoa. Let me clean up my mess really quick. I don't even know if you guys can see. I opened the lid and they fell out. My computer went back to sleep. All right. Do you like scary movies? Yes, I do. I love horror movies. Once again, I don't really watch TV much, so I don't really sit down and watch movies much. Movies are, if I'm going to watch a movie, I like to go to the movies. And, well, we haven't been able to do that for a while. There were a few of the new release ones that I have watched in quarantine, but not many. I love scary movies, horror movies, not specifically the genre of like torture porn, like Saw or those movies. I don't like those. I like horror movies that are like paranormal or they have monsters or gore or something. I'm not big on torture porn or super, super, super gory movies. I like to be scared. I don't like gross stuff. 13 is kind of irrelevant. 14, last film I watched. Well, we don't watch things on film anymore. We stream them. But the last movie I watched would probably be Wonder Woman 1984, I think, was the last one. Yeah, I believe so. No. It was one. That's right. My husband's former coworker, we're all friends on Facebook, recommended that we watch this movie that's partially subtitled on Netflix called Space Cleaners or something. It was a Korean film, and part of it was in English, but part of it was in Korean, part of it was in like different languages. So there was a lot of, basically the premise is that this is kind of a post-apocalyptic sort of humanity where very little of humanity still lives on Earth. Most of humanity lives on like orbiting space stations sort of things, but there's a subsection of humanity that is they go out and they pick up all of the space trash that's floating around, running into stuff, and they salvage it. And it was interesting. I surprisingly enjoyed it. It was not what I was expecting. I never would have like picked it out of a lineup to watch, but we actually really enjoyed it. I'll have to check on the name of that. It was like Space somethings. Space. Anyway, it was a surprisingly feel-good movie, but it had a lot of dark parts, and I like movies that are thought-provoking. It was very much about human nature and kind of where the lengths that we are willing to go to. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. The lengths that we're willing to go to as a species. Both good and bad, actually. It had both good and bad in it. I don't want to make it sound like it's like all dark, but I was surprisingly entertained. I actually put down the project I was working on and just watched, which is not something I do very often. I am doing a temperature blanket. A friend of mine has a Facebook group going. So I was working on my temperature blanket and I couldn't focus on my temperature blanket to knit while the movie was on, so it got put away. Okay. My coffee's getting cold, you guys. I hate it when my coffee gets cold. Okay, I want to check and make sure that I'm doing the right. Okay, that was 3. Symbol 3. Which one is symbol 3? Okay, it's this really pale blue. Do I have any more of the symbol 3? I don't know. Sorry about that. Can you guys even see where I'm working? Let me see if you can even see where I'm working. You can't. I've moved out of your range. I'm so sorry. There we go. I don't know. I'll do V instead. All right, I think, let's see. Right. Have you ever cried at a film? Yes, I've cried at a lot of films, some of which were worth crying at and some of them not so much. Kind of like most people, I don't always cry just because it's sad. Sometimes I cry because it's happy. Sometimes I cry because I'm hormonal that day. It just depends. But yes, I have definitely cried at a movie. And then I think the last question that I will answer off of this list, because this is a very random list. Do you like roller coasters? Yes, I do. I have not ridden a roller coaster in so long. I used to love roller coasters, though. I don't know how much I like them now, but I used to love roller coasters. Now, one might say that I'm too healthy and my blood pressure tends to be low, and so I get dizzy whenever I switch like orientations too quickly. So like if I go from sitting to standing or laying down to sitting up or whatever too quickly, I get dizzy. So maybe I won't like roller coasters. I used to love them. I used to be that person that did all the crazy rides. I'll have to try it again whenever we can actually go to roller coasters again. But on that note, I think I am actually going to quit for the night. It was great chatting with you guys. I hope everybody's doing really well. I will come back at some point. I would like to know if you like this sort of like WIP and Chat sort of thing, or like the resin videos. I know there are a lot of people that do this style of WIP and Chats. I watch a lot of WIP and Chats. So I would like to know if you would like to see more of the unboxing stuff, or like the WIP and Chat stuff with diamond painting, or the resin casting stuff. I can figure out how to do more like time-lapse resin casting stuff, because the resin casting tends to take quite a while. It's not a really quick process. So let me know down below what you would like to see more of. Otherwise, I will see you guys soon. Bye.